Sony's cockiness and Microsoft's sureness have always been kind of interesting to me because it's always been sort of this give and take kind of relationship that we've seen. Microsoft, yeah, they've been cocky in the past, but I think over the last decade, they've been pretty laid back when it comes to pretty much everything. So it sort of comes as a surprise that Sony still feels like they need to go out and, kind of poke the bear, so to speak. I don't really understand it, but they are all out there always trying to make Xbox look bad. I feel like Xbox has the upper hand in this particular instance because when you go back and you look at past Xbox E3s and not E3s, back in the day, Sony used to have all day to change things up. And if you want to get technical, look back to the Xbox One. Sony was actually going to package a camera in the PS4. Everybody was going to get a camera too. They pulled that out, throw together the schmarmy ass thing of, oh, hey, if you want to share video games, this is how you do it, right? Like, throw that together real quick or what have you. It's just honestly one of those weird things that just kind of happens. But now we see that Sony, they basically want to try to upstage Microsoft, and I don't think it's going to happen. But the Sony PlayStation Showcase returns next Wednesday. It's going to feature a quote-unquote wealth of new games and new IP heading to the PS5 and PSVR 2. PlayStation Showcase broadcasts live Wednesday, May 24th at 1 p.m. Pacific Time. It will feature a wealth of new games and new IP that are headed to the platform. The show will run a bit over an hour, which that doesn't seem like a lot, considering that Sony hasn't done a show in, 2 years? And they're only going to run an hour-long show, or just over an hour long, and they're going to be covering third-party stuff. They're going to be covering VR. It seems a little light to me. Anyway, focusing on PS5 and PSVR 2 games in development from top studios from around the world. Expect a glimpse at several new creations from PlayStation Studios, as well as spellbinding games from our third-party partners and indie creators, according to PlayStation. Much of PlayStation's 2023 lineup is unknown, with only Spider-Man 2 on the roster. It's likely that Wednesday they'll reveal more of what PlayStation plans to release later this year. Now, the showcase kicks off several weeks of major video game showcases, which are taking place in the absence of what used to be known as E3. Summer Games Fest, now which is billed as global fan celebration of what's next in video games, will return for its fourth year with a live kickoff show on Thursday, June 8th. Promising world premieres, live gameplay demos, announcements. The show will take place in front of a live audience at the YouTube Theater at Hollywood Park in Inglewood, California. Following Summer Games Fest, this summer Xbox Game Showcase will take place on Sunday, June 11th. So, realistically, you have quite a bit of time, couple weeks, between Sony and Microsoft shows. So what that does is, and I don't think Microsoft would change anything drastically, to be quite honest with you, but what this does is it allows them to go out and, maybe throwing that little extra something, depending on what Sony tends to show. Like, I don't think Sony has much of anything, like for this year, ready to go. I mean, like, people are like, oh, well, Spider-Man 2 or whatever, and I think that's from the first party. I think that's going to be basically it. They could have maybe something smaller, but Sony, with the way that they try to do things a little bit more traditional, I feel like, that requires quite a bit of marketing, 4, 5, 6 months of marketing and things like that. And I think we've already kind of reached into that part of the year where they would actually have time to successfully market some of these things. So yeah, I mean, like, you're going to ask me, am I excited to see? I'm always excited to see games, third-party stuff, sure. Why not? Always excited to see what I'll be playing on my Xbox, because I play all the third-party stuff on my Xbox. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, just very cool to see that Sony's out there doing this, but at the same time, you kind of shake your head a little bit, because I feel like they're trying to, like, maybe leg up Microsoft or something here, and I just don't really think that that's going to be possible with everything that Microsoft has. And not only that, but keeping in mind that Sony actually canceled 3 games over the past week. That's crazy to think about. I know people are like, oh, well, anything can change, anything can happen, but literally Sony just did that. Sony was like, hey, let's cancel 3 games, close down the studio, but at least they are holding an event. So, I mean, after 2 years, they throw us a little bit of a bone. If you think about it, the last time we got a event or a showcase, first party wise, from Sony was way back in 2021. And not only was it way back in 2021, but it was only 38 minutes long. I know some of you probably remember that, but yeah, it wasn't like it was some huge, thing that was spectacular or whatever. Like, I actually missed the E3 stuff. I know people don't believe that, but I missed the E3 setups. I missed what used to be, because that used to be just such a fun kind of time, and now it's like we don't get any of that. We get, hopefully they do it in front of a live audience. I doubt it, though. Probably just be a digital event, but it takes so much out of it when they're not live events anymore, and that's super unfortunate. And I hope we see some great games. I honestly do. I hope we see some great games from them. I hope we see some good competition from both. And it's something that we need to see. It's about damn time. Sony always trying to one-up or get some kind of the good news. I think Sony had no choice but to get in there with some kind of announcement or whatever like this. Main reason is just a lot of bad news over the past couple of weeks, right? And so you have to kind of get out there and talk about it, So again, I think that's great, and I think that's good that they finally announced this. But at the same time, I'm a little bit dubious, because I want to see what happens down the road. I want to see what the plan is. I want to see, to be quite honest with you, there's been consideration to sell off my PlayStation 5, because it's a thing where Sony has not done a very good job, in my opinion, of selling me on PlayStation's future, right? Like, I like VR, but I don't have a PSVR 2. I likely won't have one, and the reason being is they priced this thing kind of high. I get that it's worth the price for the tech, but most people, like, the games are so slow in coming. If you have a back catalog of PSVR 1 games, they should be able to work, but the fact that nothing's backwards compatible is a real kind of kick in the butt. So the fact that even the first party stuff isn't capable of doing that, and they're obviously maybe going to try to resell you games that you already bought, they could just be patched or fixed or whatever. Yeah, I find that to be kind of crazy, and just kind of on the ignorant side as well. So yeah, I mean, that's disappointing. So, like, the VR stuff means nothing to me. The indies and third party stuff means nothing to me. The first party stuff, that's the stuff that matters. That's the meat and potatoes. With Stray coming to Xbox, we know that Kenna Bridge of Spirits is coming to Xbox. Like, these games go back, at the third party stuff, it always ends up going back and forth, so it's not a big deal. What we need to see is some great announcements, and from stuff that's coming relatively soon. Otherwise, I'm honestly just finished with my PlayStation 5. If Spider-Man 2 is all they're going to give me over the next year or two, yeah, then that's unfortunate. And unfortunately, I literally bought a dust cover for my PS5, and I have no need for it. It's not like I do podcasts anymore. I'm not really covering PlayStation anymore, per se. So there's not really a need to have one like in the past. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think, though. I'm not sold on PlayStation with what they're doing. Maybe they'll do a great show, and I'll be like, hey, that was a damn good show. I'm looking forward to what they're showing. But in the meantime, I guess it's just kind of a wait and see. But let me know what you think. Rack 'em up. Please like the video. I'm Crap Gamer. This has been Crap Gamer Reviews. Crap Gamer out.